Hello and welcome. If it's your first time here, my name is Siobhan. I still don't have a great intro, so I'm just going to jump in. The new ABH foundation came out. It launched today, and I have the worst time finding foundations in my shade and that don't oxidize. Everything oxidizes on my skin. So, sorry, hopefully I'm not fully blinding you. It has a lot of claims. I'm just going to run through them real quick. It says vegan, gluten-free, alcohol-free, clinically tested, dermatologist tested, ophthalmologist tested, non-comedogenic, suitable for sensitive skin, long-wearing, no flashback. A lot of those claims are not things that I would necessarily think needed to be called out, but that's fine. So here's what the bottle looks like. Now, when this was shown initially on Instagram, I know that there were people who hated this. I am not gonna lie, I was not a huge fan immediately of my foundation saying foundation, great big, but when I realized that that's the back and that the front just has the regular, like, Anastasia Beverly Hills, I'm good with it. It's supposed to be luminous and have all day wear. Who doesn't want that? Medium buildable coverage. We're gonna try it. I will say color was a challenge. The way that they are described online, if you can go in and test for colors, I would, because the way they're described online does not fit what they actually were in store. The undertones just weren't necessarily what they said they were. There was a cool undertone that was definitely more on like the red side, and there were some undertone issues, I think, somewhere along the way. They were all brand new, and I didn't think to shake them, so maybe that was the problem. I'm going to shake this one. But even then, the colors shouldn't be as off as they seemed to be, as far as, like, there's definitely a great range. It's just that the descriptions on the website, had I been ordering for delivery from online versus going in and actually testing out to see whether or not a shade would work for me, I don't think that I would have gotten something that was even remotely correct. So for the sake of not having to send it back, either make sure that you watch videos of people your skin tone, or Google it, Instagram, whatever. Find somebody that's close to your skin tone if you have to order online. I'm going to do half of my face with a sponge and half of my face with a brush. So I prefer brush. I know a lot of people prefer to use sponges. So I'm just going to do half and half and see how that works, how it works out with each. Usually what I do actually is I spread my foundation out with a brush and then I go in and like pat it with a sponge. So, I mean, technically I use both. I'm just going to pump this out onto my hand. So it's a little bit runny, but not terrible. Definitely not super thick. I don't like super thick foundations, so it's a good consistency. And if it doesn't oxidize, my boyfriend was waiting in the car, so literally I just like put a little bit on and tested that way to see whether or not the color was gonna work. So, and I'm gonna do these actually the opposite side. So I held the sponge up over here, but I'm actually gonna do the brush on this side. This is not usually how I dot on my foundation. I usually put it on the brush, but since this is a new clean brush, I don't want it to soak up all of the product immediately. But yeah, we're gonna hope. So I haven't tried the foundation, because again, it just released today. I just put a little bit on my jawline in the store, and like the color is an amazing match if it doesn't oxidize at all, which is always a huge concern. It literally says on the website in the description that it doesn't oxidize. Let me pull it up real quick. This is what it says on the website. Luminous Foundation by Anastasia Beverly Hills is a water-resistant liquid foundation that creates a luminous natural finish. The radiant formula delivers long-wearing medium coverage yet still feels so lightweight and looks ultra fresh. This is the coverage you've been waiting for. Luminous Foundation looks so great on its own, there's no need to set with powder. So I'm not going to set it with a powder. And if you didn't notice, I also did not use a primer because I just want to see what the foundation can do on its own. If it does oxidize, I will try it again tomorrow without or with primer, because that usually helps if things oxidize on me. Luminous Foundation blurs any imperfections, including discoloration and unevenness, without caking or masking the skin's natural radiance. With a seamless application, this easy-to-blend formula leaves the skin with a perfected-looking complexion that is free of flashback or oxidization. So we're going to test those claims. I am going in for another pump because I want to see if I can build it up a little bit. Because I can still, like, I have some spots here that you can definitely see. Let me zoom in. Okay, that's a little bit better. But I definitely have some spots going on right now. And my skin has been angry. I stopped taking my vitamins for a while. I know that there are conspiracy theories about Tati's vitamins, but the Halo Hair, Skin, and Nails makes such a big difference. And when I don't take it, I definitely notice a difference in the texture of my skin and how much acne I have, in my keratosis. So I look crazy in the viewfinder right now, but with and without. And then we're going to go in with a sponge. Now, sponge generally gets less coverage, so I'm expecting that. This is the Wet n Wild sponge. I like this one. It's like nice and springy. Actually, I think that just in general, aside from the fact that it like absorbed most of my product, I didn't get great coverage with the sponge. I'm probably going to go back in with the brush. I don't know if you can see, but like here, those pores, like it just sort of went around them instead of going into them. Doesn't look great. Okay, so gonna still try with sponge. We'll try one more pump. It can definitely be built up with the sponge. I prefer the brush, but that's not a surprise. I always prefer brushes over sponges for makeup application. Well, not for all makeup application. But for the sake of reviewing this, I am going to just leave this. I'm not going to go back in with a brush. Even though I really, really want to. I'm not going to. Going to just not. And I don't think it really has. I don't smell anything. I didn't smell anything at all while I was putting it on. It doesn't seem to have any sort of scent. I know it says it doesn't have any added fragrance, but sometimes no added fragrance means that it has sort of like that paint smell. This doesn't really have a foundation smell at all. So far so good. It gave me pretty good coverage. I can still see like my little mole through here, my little freckle on my nose. But as far as my redness, it did a really good job of covering up the red on my cheeks, and I was super, super red today. And yeah, so, and it doesn't feel like much of anything on the skin. It does sort of feel like it's setting down maybe. This side still feels a little tacky, but that's the side I used the sponge on, and obviously the sponge is wet, so it's gonna add some moisture to it. So I really wanted to go for sort of a grungy look today, which, let's be real, is what I want to go for most days. So again, not a surprise. I am going to use the Anastasia Beverly Hills Eye Primer. This is relatively new, so if you haven't seen it, I like it. There is what seems to be a universal problem with the packaging, which is that it's got this little tube and a lot comes out at once. So when I open it, I try to hold it this way and then squeeze it together when I open it so that the air pulls down in. And then I'm just really careful about how much I get out, because it takes the tiniest little bit, but so much comes out of the tube, and you don't want that when you're paying for the product. My eyebrows are a mess. They definitely need to be waxed again. And while that is setting, I'm going to go ahead and do my eyebrows. So I'm using the Anastasia Dip Brow in Ash Brown. And I'm just going to use an angled brush by Japanesque. It still has the plastic over the mirror, and I think it's because I couldn't get the plastic off of the mirror. Like it's like it's super glued on there. There we go. So satisfying. So I have pretty full natural brows. So mostly I'm just coloring them in and shaping them a little bit. I think I started to say and then didn't say it. I very much prefer a pomade over a pencil. And I think that a lot of that has to do with the fact that I do have pretty full brows, because a pencil I can go in and I can fill in, like I have a little bald spot that happens over here when I trim my eyebrows, and I can go in and I can fill in that bald spot if I want it to be the same color as my natural hair color. But because I like my eyebrows to be a fair bit darker than my natural color, trying to color them in with a pencil is just really difficult, and I don't enjoy it. So I rarely use eyebrow pencils. It took me a while to figure out that that was why I didn't like eyebrow pencils, and that's why they didn't work for me the way they work for other people. Not my finest brows, but they're fine. I'm just gonna go in with the brush that came in the palette, which I don't usually use these brushes. I've heard people say that they're like their favorite brushes and they're the best ever. I'm not a huge fan. But I'm going to go into Estate and just kind of go in the crease and up a bit. This is just going to be a super simple eye look, since the palette is not the star of the show. All right, and then I'm just going to take this Tetris blending brush. I'm going to go into the shade Cabana, which is the nice mustard yellow that's in here, and just go all over the lid. That's not the brush I want to use. So actually I'm going to use this It Cosmetics Angled Shadow Crease Brush. It's just denser, so it's going to pick up the shadow better. Give me the color payoff I'm looking for. And now I'm going to go into that blending brush and just go into the crease. And then I'm just going to go in, this is a Royal and Langnickel just mini flat smudger. I'm going to go into the shade Palm, which is this brown that's over here, and just deepen up the outer V. And then I'm just going to run that underneath my bottom lash line. For my eyeliner, I'm using Marc Jacobs Highline in the shade Earthquake. If you have a chance to pick these up, I definitely recommend them. They are amazing for the waterline. And they come in lots of colors, which is fun. Winged liner, this is the Too Faced sketch marker. This is just black. I don't know, it's growing on me over time. When I first used it, and I think it might be like just one of those products that it needs to dry up a little bit. Because when I first used it, it like bled really, really badly. And I ended up with black eyeliner in my eye. There's, the first time I used it, I think that there's actually a video up. It was my full face of Too Faced products. Oh yeah, well, I don't have much to say. I guess now's a good time to say, hey, subscribe. I do have a goal to, I would like to have 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, which is a little insane, I know, but I feel like if I have a goal, then I will put more into it, and it will be easier for me on days that I'm just not feeling great to really still have motivation to get up and do my makeup. And the thing is, I love doing my makeup. Even when I don't feel well, I enjoy doing it. It's just the talking aspect of it when I'm not feeling well is difficult. Or if I have a migraine, I don't want to do anything at all. I'm just, migraines turn me into a non-functional human being. Alright, so I'm just gonna, for mascara, I'm using the Hourglass Caution Extreme, which is like the hardest product ever to show because it's in this beautiful bottle that is super reflective. So this still feels just like a tiny bit tacky. Normally I would definitely put a little bit of powder, at least in this area, but it said I didn't need to, so I'm not going to. And I'm going to be using the Anastasia Beverly Hills and Emrazy. If for some reason you haven't seen this highlighter, here's what it looks like. It still looks like it's barely been used, even though I've used it a ton. And I'm just using an IT Cosmetics brush. Just realized I didn't put concealer on. That's gonna be unfortunate. And I am also going to use this as my inner corner. I would say yes, it clings to the foundation a bit. It definitely would have done better over a powder. Yep. Now I look like a crazy person. Thanks. For blush, I'm using Japanesque Velvet Touch Blush in the shade 03. And I am using this Moda brush, which needs a little bit of shape, but it has just like really wispy bristles. And I've found that being a person who likes to use too much blush, that this really helps me tone it down. And by likes to use too much, I mean I don't like to use too much, I just do use too much. This blush is really pretty though. And it goes well with this. It has like just a really, it has a gold, like little gold flecks that you can see in the pan, but that definitely, like it just goes on as a matte blush. And then I really gonna see what I can do about blending out this contour a little more. And for lipstick, also obviously ABH. And this is in the shade Dazed. Alright, so this is it for the look. I am going to take my dog for a walk, and I've been playing Harry Potter. I've been playing Harry Potter Wizards Unite because I'm a nerd and I'm not afraid to say it. And so I'm gonna walk around a little bit and see if I can find some inns that are near my house. I'll probably take a little video out in natural light so you can see what it looks like in natural light. And I will also do a flash test to see whether or not it has flashback. I've never had issues with foundations that don't have SPF having flashback. So that's why I was saying like some of the claims don't seem like they really need to be made. Because it just seems obvious. But so yeah, we'll see what it looks like in natural light. We'll see what it looks like after I've been out in the heat. It's like close to 100 degrees here today, and it looked like it was getting ready to rain before I came into film, which means that by now it may have rained and passed and just be muggy. It's really hard to say. So we'll I'll do that. I'm gonna hang out for a little bit. I'm gonna edit the first half of this video. I got started really late today. It is already almost 5 o'clock. So check-in time is probably around 4:30, and we're just gonna see what it looks like after a couple of hours. I will try to do a full day wear test tomorrow, and then I'll post on my Instagram with an update, just letting you know how that went. I already know, if this is your first time coming to my channel, I have chronic fatigue, so I have a very difficult time staying awake for extended periods of time, and I work a full day tomorrow, so I'll try and get up and do my makeup before work, and then that gives me 8 hours at work, and then I'll keep it on for a couple of hours after. I don't tend to ever need makeup for more than 10, maybe 12 hours at the most, so 24-hour wear isn't something that I personally need. I don't know many people that stay awake for 24 hours. It's not great for your skin to keep it on for 24 hours. So, so I'm gonna go do that. I'll check back in a little bit, and hopefully I won't burn. I just thought about the fact that there's not SPF in this. I'm gonna go walk my dog because he needs a walk, and I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, bye. So here's how it looks in natural light. I am definitely very pleased with it, and I love this highlighter. This highlighter is amazing. It's unfortunate kind of that it was a collaboration, because it means that they can't just make it part of their permanent range. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with this whole look, minus my hair, so I only wash my hair like once a week, and that day is today. So right now it's just filled with dry shampoo and grossness. Anyway, I am gonna go ahead and take my dog for a walk and come back and edit, and then I will come back and let you know what my final thoughts are. Okay, so this part is going to probably be terrible quality because I'm using the front camera on my phone, but I did want to just say a little bit more. My memory card was full, so you can see here I don't really have lines. Like, I've been wearing my glasses because I've been editing. I was wearing sunglasses when I was outside, and there's just not, like, it didn't really rub off. I really, especially considering that I didn't use primer, I didn't powder, I don't think I've ever been this impressed with a foundation ever. The Too Faced Peach Perfect is kind of my previous love, so this is just, it's only been 5.5 hours, but even at 5.5 hours, I usually have like things kind of like super settled here, and like even in my forehead, like I have pretty prominent lines in my forehead, so you're always going to be able to see them, but usually they're like really obvious with foundation. So yeah, I am really pleased, and I'm gonna continue using it. I will hopefully only ever have great things to say about it. Of course, foundations do sometimes turn on me later, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, that was all. I just wanted to add in a little more because I really do love it, and I didn't feel like a 30-second wrap up was really fair to the brand or to, honestly, how excited I am about finding a foundation which has a great color match. Like, it hasn't oxidized. Did I mention it hasn't oxidized? I don't think I said that. I would say 90% of foundations that I use oxidize. I usually have to go a shade lighter. I'm really excited. The only real downside of this foundation is that you need to be able to go in store to get it, because the descriptions online just aren't accurate. But other than that, I say if you're thinking about it, go for it. This is one that I highly recommend. Hope you're having a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. Bye.